Welcome, I'm the Conspiracy Man. In this series, we'll be blowing the lid off many of the world's biggest conspiracies that the man doesn't want you to know about. With the recent passing of Roger Moore, now is a good time to look at his most famous role. Based on the Ian Fleming series of books, James Bond films have been part of the cultural zeitgeist for over 5 decades, and are renowned for their quality as pieces of cinematic art. Kind of. But the films have a secret, sinister agenda. The 24th and most recent film was 2015's Spectre, in which the evil criminal mastermind turns out to be the super spy's long-lost brother, which was exactly the same as in the third Austin Powers movie. But Spectre didn't rip off Austin Powers, even though it came out after. It's another case of time travel plagiarism. Daniel Craig has played 007 in 4 movies, but is reticent to continue in the role, with reports that the studio is willing to offer massive money for him to do more movies. Which is odd since James Bond is the most replaceable role in the movie industry. He's already been replaced 5 times, so no one's gonna care. So maybe spend some of that 50 mil on making a movie that doesn't suck and rip off comedy spoofs. Maybe if the social justice warriors get their way, we can have a woman play Bond. In these movies, there's something odd about the villains. You'd think a super spy would be battling those rotten communists and other evil regimes, as well as foiling plots by megalomaniacal supervillains trying to take over the world. But he rarely ever takes on the commies. The main villains in the Bond series are actually businessmen? The biggest villain in the series, Spectre, is a criminal business syndicate. Spectre and his subsidiaries have been the baddies in most of the Sean Connery and Craig movies. In many of the Fleming stories, the bad guys were not Spectre, but Smersh, a Soviet espionage group. That makes this seem even more suspicious, but at least clears Mr. Fleming. And here's some more examples. In Goldfinger, the baddie is Auric Goldfinger, a successful businessman who is actually a gold smuggler. In the Roger Moore 1977 entry, The Spy Who Loved Me, the bad guy is a successful businessman who wants to nuke the world and start a new world under the sea. The next film, Moonraker, similarly has a billionaire want to destroy the world while he waits it out in space. In For Your Eyes Only, a Greek shipping magnate named Aristotle is the bad guy. Certainly not at all referencing a real-life Greek shipping magnate named Aristotle. Christopher Walken's villain in A View to a Kill is a leading microchip manufacturer. In the first Timothy Dalton Bond, 1987's The Living Daylights, you have an evil American arms dealer. In the Pierce Brosnan Bond film Tomorrow Never Dies, the villain is a media mogul trying to spark war between China and Britain, who is based off real-life supervillain Rupert Murdoch. Admittedly, sometimes there are Soviet villains, but these tend to be rogue generals, who often are doing it for the money, having been seduced by decadent capitalism. In fact, communists are sometimes allied with 007, such as when he teams up with sexy Russian agent lady in The Spy Who Loved Me, and a sexy commie Chinese agent in Tomorrow Never Dies. James Bond movies are actually communist propaganda. This film series is essentially a Trojan horse. Normal leftist artsy propaganda is never going to be seen by anyone other than beret-wearing hipsters. But this is big-budget action for the general populace. So no one would suspect this as propaganda that subtly plants the idea that capitalism is evil. Also, the Bond movies glorify spying, something any good communist regime will be doing a lot of, mostly on their own citizens. But is it any surprise though? The leftist liberal agenda have already taken over academia in order to control our thoughts and bend our views to their will. And it's not just on the campuses. Hollywood and the movie industry have always been full of PC pinko commies, going back even to the 1940s, as shown by Senator Joe McCarthy, who heroically tried to expose this, which resulted in the blacklisting of prominent Tinseltown figures such as screenwriter Dalton Trumbo, an actual communist. In the spirit of true patriot Joe McCarthy, I'm gonna name names. The Broccoli family are communists. United Artists, MGM, Sony Pictures, all communists. Provided I am not sent to a re-education facility, I shall return in the next thrilling installment. What conspiracy will I be shaking but not stirring? Well, let me just say, apocalypse. No, not like that. Armageddon. No, definitely not that one. The end of the world. Scared? You should be.